From Stage Fright to Spotlight. It is our comprehensive public speaking segment designed to help you master this crucial skill. Whether you're speaking to a large audience or just in front of a small group, this segment of the show will give you the tools you need to shed the stage fright and step confidently into the spotlight. All right. So this segment of the show will also have guest appearances from some of my fellow Toastmasters. And I have some lined up. Going to do some pre-recording this coming Friday, as a matter of fact. But tonight I have some of my fellow Toastmasters joining us. If you don't know what Toastmasters happens to be, let me explain that to you. Toastmasters International is a nonprofit educational organization that teaches public speaking and leadership skills through a worldwide network of clubs. I happen to belong to the Spirited Speakers Club out of Middleborough, Massachusetts. And we currently meet virtually right now. We're going to be hybrid soon. We're going to be in person and virtual. But right now we currently meet virtually on the second and fourth Wednesdays of every month. So I want you to stay tuned because at the end of this segment, I'll show you how you can actually visit my next Toastmaster meeting virtually. All right. So on tonight's From Stage Fright to Spotlight segment, I have special guests, Suzanne and Sean, with me. Two of my fellow Toastmasters. They're in my club. We'll be putting our impromptu speaking skills to the test by having some fun with the table topics part of a Toastmaster meeting. And don't worry about it. Suzanne is here to break down the table topics role, what it is, why it matters, and how it can sharpen your ability to think and speak on the fly. It really can. So after that, well, Sean and I are going to step right into the hot seat for a round of table topics live. No scripts, no safety net, just pure off-the-cuff fun. Please stand by while I cue up that video. Wait for Sean to come in. But how you doing this evening, Suzanne?
I'm doing great, Jason. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Yeah. And I know we're waiting for Sean, but could you please introduce yourself and let the audience know who you are and what it is that you do?
Absolutely. So as you mentioned, I've been in Toastmasters for a number of years. I think since 2012, actually, and I've never looked back. I'm still a member. I still love it. I am a fourth grade teacher. I have used my Toastmaster skills in many capacities, in meetings, even with family, and it really has helped me immensely. So I'm looking forward to share my experience tonight with your audience and to have a little fun with table topics.
Awesome. Awesome. And then let's see here. Let me see if I can get Sean, at least on audio. See if we can get him here. Hey, Sean, you there at least with the audio?
I will be with you in just a minute. I'm switching to my computer.
You go right ahead, and what I'll do is I'll just have Suzanne explain table talks and whatnot. So, okay, Suzanne is going to talk about her experience with the role of table topics and also explain what the role is all about. After that, when Sean gets here shortly, Sean and I are going to be put to the test, and we're going to participate in table topics live with no safety net. And you'll know what that means in a second when Suzanne talks about what the table topics are. So take it away, Suzanne.
All right. Thank you, Jason. So table topics is a segment of a Toastmaster meeting, and it's kind of like a game. And how it works is that people who volunteer are given a question that they have no idea what the question is. And they have 1 to 2 minutes to answer the question. Now, when I first joined Toastmasters, I hated table topics, hated it. I never wanted to answer questions. I never volunteered. It was completely intimidating to me because I couldn't even think about what I was going to say. And one day I just figured, well, it's only 1 minute. It's 1 to 2 minutes. You can say anything for 1 to 2 minutes, right? So finally, one day I raised my hand to volunteer for table topics. I got the question. I don't remember what the question was. All I remember is I think I had 11 ums, and I barely made it to 30 seconds. It was terrible. However, since then, I continued to, that first time was terrible, but once I got that under my belt, I was able to volunteer in the future meetings and I got a little bit better. And I learned from watching my fellow Toastmasters that there are some strategies you can use for answering questions when they're thrown at you and you don't know what to say. A couple of those strategies I'm going to share. And
I was going to ask you, Suzanne, what are some of those strategies?
Probably use them yourself, but I'll share them with the audience. One of the strategies that a lot of Toastmasters will use when they get a question that they're not expecting is they'll say something like, "Wow, that's a great question." And they'll often repeat the question like, "Wow, what is my favorite color? That's such a great question. Thank you for asking." They'll thank the question asker. "Thank you for asking that great question." So these kinds of strategies will buy you some time to think about a response. So that's one strategy that I've noticed a lot of experienced table topics answerers will use.
So repeat the question to the question.
The table topics master. Repeat the question. Thank you for that question. And then say, my favorite color. I'd never thought about my favorite color before. That's such an interesting question. And that gives you time to think about, what am I going to say? Gives you a little thinking time. The other strategy that I've noticed some experienced table topics folks will use is the pivot. And you see this a lot in political debates. We saw it most recently. If you watch the political debate, you might be asked a question and you don't even answer it. You just find a way to talk about something somewhat related to the topic, but the goal is to find a way to speak for 1 minute. And I've noticed that some of the experienced speakers will pivot on the question, and that's perfectly fine. It's perfectly acceptable because the goal is to speak for 1 minute. So maybe tonight we'll see some pivoting. Maybe we'll see some thanking and repeating from when I share my table topics questions tonight with both of you. Maybe not. It's not a requirement, but it's definitely a strategy. I've seen Sean use these strategies before. And it's a lot of fun. It's really just meant to be fun. And I also wanted to share that in terms of my experience with Toastmasters, whenever I was asked to speak or run a meeting or give a presentation in the past before I joined Toastmasters, I would ask myself or ask the person, like, why me? Do I have to? Really? Whereas now that I have the experience and I've had some exercises and opportunities to practice speaking with an audience, and the question I ask is, well, how much time do I have? So it's no longer scary. I have strategies for organizing. I have strategies for thinking about what my point is, and there's lots and lots of tools that are given to you as part of a Toastmaster meeting and club.
Yeah, one of the for table topics, as far as stalling is concerned, to think. I love that one. Re-asking the question to the table topics master to think. I think I might use that one this evening. I don't know. But I think maybe since Sean hasn't been able to speak yet, I mean, do you have anything to say about table topics at all before Suzanne puts us on the spot?
Yeah, I was just going to say I love table topics. It's a great time to just get those impromptu skills. I'm sure Suzanne mentioned this, but again, for me, I always think about table topics as that awkward moment in a business meeting where your boss points at you and asks you a question, and you're like, "Oh no, let me hide." Table topics, once you've done it long enough, you will overcome that fear of ever being called on in a meeting or in any environment to ask a random question. That is the beauty of table topics. And I love that Suzanne already preferenced some strategies with table topics. One of my favorites is just to think of random stories that could fit into any question. So if you ask me, what's my favorite color? It's a one-word answer, but with table topics, we always want to know why. So you might talk about a story that relates to something from your childhood. Well, that same story might not just apply to what your favorite color is, but could also apply to a question like, hey, tell me a story from your childhood, or tell me about your favorite memory with a parent. So you can use the same stories in multiple situations. So a little pro tip there.
Awesome. All right. Well, I think, are we ready? Already? I mean, it's table topics, so I mean, you can only be as ready as you can be ready, right? So
You're ready. You're ready up to the point that after you hear the question.
right. So who wants to go first? You want to go first, Sean? Guess first.
Absolutely. Why not? Go ahead, Suzanne. Hit me with
All
your
right, Sean.
question.
Thank you for taking the risk and stepping up. So because it's October, I thought we'd have a fall theme. And I have 3 questions. And you can pick number 1, 2, or 3. And they're loosely related to fall.
All right. Well, give me number 3.
Number 3. Number 3, falling off a log. Something that's so easy. It's like falling off a log. I want to talk about something that either happened to you or you did or you find really simple and easy for yourself. It's almost like falling off a log.
Well, thank you for that question, Suzanne. As again, what is something easy for me that I would consider like it'd be as easy as falling off a log, which again, my children do very often with balancing at the playground or just getting all over the place. Speaking of the fall and one of our favorite activities we just did this weekend was we went pumpkin picking. And that question also made me think of the place that we went has this huge pyramid of haystacks. And my youngest, Dominic, who's there, climbed up to the top and, well, was going to jump all the way off, but then decided better to go one stage lower. But jumped off the haystack into a pile of hay. So that was interesting. But for me, I have always found things with technology very easy, like falling off a log. I was that child or grandchild that my parents or grandparents would get something new, like when we got cable for the first time or when we got any kind of technology, they'd be like, I don't know how to work this. Give it to Sean. He'll figure it out. He'll install it. He'll tell us how it works. And I was always really from a young age excellent at that. Just figuring out, like, when computers first started, was really easy to learn for me and teach to other people. And then so just anything with technology has been really easy. I'm very good at a lot of things that my coworkers are not good at, like things like Excel and PowerPoint, and they struggle with those things. And I'm like, yeah, no problem. Give me a good Excel spreadsheet or a PowerPoint to put together, and I am happy I can do that. It's like falling off the log. So thank you, Suzanne, for that amazing question. And back to you.
Wow. Right at 2 minutes. Someone got to time me. That was great.
Timing, by the way, Jason. I forgot about that part. Right.
Yeah. I think just right at the last minute. I figured it.
On the spot. Well, I don't know if the audience noticed, but Sean used every single strategy that we mentioned. He started off with repeating the question and thanking the speaker. He also started right off the bat with a pivot to a family story. So he told a story about doing something with his family that very, very loosely related to the question, and then came all the way back to the actual question finally at the end, which I think gave him plenty of time to think of a response. So that was brilliant, Sean. Thank you for that awesome response too.
And Suzanne, I don't know if you mentioned this to the audience, but another strategy that I implore a lot is at the beginning, the pause.
Yes, I noticed that too. Yes, I meant to mention that.
So just stopping, giving about 15 to 20 seconds of repeat the question back into your head and loosely think about what's that first thing you're going to start with, and then just let it roll from there. So that's really what the pause can do. It can give you just that extra 15, 20 seconds of time to think, maybe pull out that story that you're going to incorporate into your table topics. But that's another great strategy. You don't have to, the minute the question's been asked, jump right in. No, take your time, but be respectful. 20 seconds is more than enough time.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Sean. Yeah, that was great. So, and I feel like that's one of the aspects of public speaking that takes the longest to get used to is pausing.
Exactly. Gives people a chance to think. Who wants to time me?
I'm going to be timing you, Jason, but I'm not going to
Awesome.
be so generous and give you the actual time. I'll just time you. You're going to have to see
it's
if
all
we can
good.
stay within that 1 to 2 minutes.
That'll work. All right, Madam Tabletop, it's master. What am I working with
All
here?
right. You have a choice between 1 or 2.
Oh, well, number 1.
Number 1. All right. Number 1. Talk about when you fell for something, but you had no regrets. Something you fell for, but it was a good thing. You're glad you did. No regrets.
Right. Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master, for asking me that question. And to repeat the question, what was something that I have fell for that I have no regrets? Something that I fell for that I had no regrets is one time I was standing out front of this ice cream place when I was a kid. And, I was alone. I didn't have my parents with me. Those days when you weren't with your parents back in the day. Kids don't do that these days. But I was out on my bike, and then I ended up it was like a Dairy Queen type place. And I was out front, and it was during the summertime. And I just was sitting there after riding my bike for a little bit. I was just taking a rest. And then I noticed on this table, there was this brand spanking new ice cream just sitting there on the table. And there wasn't really anybody around. And it was just sitting there. It's not melted yet, so there's nothing wrong with it. I looked at it, and then, yes, as a kid, I did eat it. I ate it, and I don't regret it. I don't regret eating it, but I ate it. And there was nothing wrong with it. And after I was finished, I rode off on my bike, off into the distance. But I just didn't regret it. It was actually a happy moment in life, to tell you the truth. And I thought I was falling for a joke. I thought I was falling for a joke because it was just there. It was weird. I don't know why it was there, but it was there. I thought someone was trying to prank me and I was going to fall for a joke, but it didn't happen. So I ate it. I don't regret it. And I just drove away, and that was it. So that is something that I thought I was going to fall for anyway. And then I didn't regret it. So back to you, Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Jason. I noticed you employed a couple of strategies, including the pause and the repeating the question and the thank you and the story. I love it.
How'd I do on time?
Jason, you could be the next pro table topics person, because 2 minutes on the dot.
Yes. All right.
Nice job. So are you, Sean. That was amazing. Just in case you're wondering what number 2 was, probably the easiest question was about pumpkin spice. Just save that for another time.
Awesome. Thanks,
and you know what? You hear that sometimes and you go, oh, I dodged a bullet on that one because I had no stories for pumpkin spice. It is not something in my repertoire. I'm now going to have to think about that.
I could have ran with, hey, but we got what we got tonight, so that's all right. Nothing wrong with that.
Thanks so much for playing. I know it was fall and not the sense of the season, so I appreciate you jumping in and having a go. That was fun.
Awesome. Well, no, thank you very much. Suzanne, Sean, thanks for being part of the show tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. And I look forward to having you both back on again in the future.
Hey, Jason, like I said, I'm ready to make this a regular thing.
All right. Hey, so Sean, you just need to get with me, figure out what we're doing next Monday. So what do you guys think? How's Table Topics? Would you guys do that? That was fun. And maybe a little nerve-wracking too. Well, not so much. In the beginning it is, but you get used to it like anything. It's like riding a bike. Big thanks to Suzanne for the breakdown and for helping us stretch those impromptu muscles. And I am still waiting on Sean to connect with me about the next show or what. Anyway, maybe we can get Sean on again. We'll see. Table Topics isn't just for Toastmasters, if you couldn't tell. It's a skill that can help you handle unexpected questions, sharpen your communication, and boost your confidence. Suzanne, Sean, and I belong to the Spirit Speakers Club of Toastmasters International out of Middleborough, Massachusetts. Again, we currently meet virtually on the second and fourth Wednesdays of every month. If you'd like to experience a virtual meeting and see what it's all about, you can comment Spirited under this video and I will share the link with you. The next meeting will be on next Wednesday, February 26th from 7 to 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Don't miss out, comment Spirited, and I'll share the meeting link with you. Even if you are watching this on the replay, you happen upon this and write Spirited, I'll get back with you. And when you do show up, you can feel free to sit back and observe from the sidelines. We'll make you feel welcome, but participation is optional. No pressure. Just relax and enjoy the experience.